This is my home country, Papua New Guinea. It is located above Australia in the Pacific region. It is home to some of the world's most richest biodiversity. When I was a kid, my dad or uncles would take me on drives in the night up into the hills to make me fall asleep. While on the drive, I would feel the breeze of the trees and notice how calm they were. I would check different species that were dependent on these trees. During a hot day, I would be thankful to the trees for providing shade. But as time passed, I saw change happen. Trees were being cut and buildings were made instead. I thought to myself, if this goes on, where will I get the natural breeze and the shade from the trees? Although only about the size of California, it holds 5% of the entire world's biodiversity and is renowned for its rainforest, the third largest in the world. Wojciech Nowotny, an ecologist who splits his time between a research center in Papua New Guinea, North Coast, and the University of South Bohemia in the Czech Republic, says science has described only a tiny fraction of the island's diversity. He focuses on insects and estimates that less than 10% of some 250,000 species have been studied. Much of Papua New Guinea's wildlife is found nowhere else in the world, and today scientists still routinely discover new creatures. The smallest specimen of the new frog, named Pedophrine amuensis, was just 7 millimeters long, the largest around 8 millimeters. Also, another creature they found was called Varanus macrae. It is a subspecies of the monitor lizard. For more than a decade now, indigenous occupied lands, as well as the rainforest and biodiversity they carry, have been under threat by foreign logging companies. While much of the attention on deforestation has been focused on larger countries like Brazil, forests in Papua New Guinea have been quietly disappearing for years. Logging is the main cause of deforestation in PNG. Ever since the 1990s, the government of Papua New Guinea has tried to place restrictions on logging operations, but have faced disapproval from logging companies. The country earns $176 million from commercial logging each year. In 1972, the country had 38 million hectares of rainforest, covering 82% of the country. About 15% of that was cleared by 2002. The study, the first to measure forest loss in PNG through satellite imagery, found the rate of land clearing was considerably faster than previously estimated. It was being cleared at a rate of 3,6,200 hectares a year in 2001. The loggers would go as far as to pay the police to lock the locals in shipping containers. The logging companies were mainly owned by the Chinese or the Malaysians. Because of the deforestation, local communities felt devastating environmental effects, ranging from erosion and flooding to disappearing animals that they depended on for food. A global green grants grantee and organization of former advisor Damien Izzi, Center for Environmental Law and Community Rights, CELCOR, helped local indigenous groups raise their voices. They brought a legal case against Concord Pacific. Since 2001, and thanks to global green grants donors, CELCOR has received small grants to assist indigenous groups in the battle against logging and deforestation. In November 2005, the Papuan government announced plans to create 12 new protected areas that would add 100,000 hectares to the country's park system, an increase of almost 50%. In the summer of 2011, in a landmark decision, the court fined the logging company $100 million for illegal activities. The compensation was paid to 4 tribes who filed the case. The decision sets an important precedent for other companies contemplating logging in PNG and illustrates the power indigenous groups can have in protecting the land. I believe that there is still hope for the forest of Papua New Guinea.